All right, hey, happy Friday afternoon. How are we doing out there, ladies and gentlemen? Another lovely day, huh? Just more goodness going on. I've been watching this, that, and the other thing. Before we get to the main subject of today, I was just gonna play something. When you swing and miss, right, at the same pitch over and over again. Like playing baseball. Like there was guys, like there was one cat in particular that I remember in college going up against this dude, and I knew if I saw that arm angle coming and that was going to be that slider, that I was, you know what, I'm just not going to swing at it because I'm not going to screw myself into the ground and look foolish again. Biden doesn't seem to understand how this all works. He keeps trying to do this fucking preamble to the Constitution, and he just can't seem to do it. It's really sad. So we're going to start off with this. He dumped it a couple times. This was from Monday in Boston, and he was speaking to a union or some such thing. Because he's Scranton Joe, the working man. The thing. Well, he didn't mess up on the thing this time, but he did. Yeah, he kind of screwed it up. So let me pull this up here. You guys can all have a look and see what you think. It's just another example. How long is this going to go on? Anyway, here we go. Here's Scranton Joe. This is from this previous Monday. Building a better America now is what we're doing, I guess. So, anyway, enjoy the dumpster fire. Well, trailer park fire, whatever.
Hyperbole. Every other nation in the world is based on geography, ethnicity, religion. We're the only nation in the world that was organized based on an idea, not a joke. Think about it. The only one.
It's never a joke.
Idea.
An idea.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable. We've never fully lived up to it. We've never before walked away from it. Never before walked away from it. It's about time we come back home. And remember who the hell we are.
Where's home, Joe?
Because we the people can do anything we want to do if we set our minds to it.
Whoa. Okay. I don't know what that was. Whatever that was fairly bizarre. We'd never walked away from it. It's time we come back home. Well, Joe has had 150 days of vacation this year. I don't know if y'all realize that, but y'all paid for 150 days of vacation for Scranton Joe. 150 days. That's quite a bit. That's just so far. We still have 2.5 months left in the calendar year. So, 150 days of vacation for this fucking guy to go slump around and, fall off his fucking bicycle. And then they grandstand and they have this big celebration about the fact, and I've been calling this, and anybody that's watched this podcast knows that from the time they introduced the legislation for the Inflation Reduction Act, that I've been calling it the Inflammation Act. Well, the numbers came out, and on that same day, they had a little celebration. James Taylor came out and played his goofy little guitar. I'm sorry. James Taylor, no. I cannot stand. I hear that dude's music. If you want, oh God, it makes me want to puke. I don't know. It's horrible. And you might like it. I don't care. Whatever. We can agree to disagree. Apparently Joe likes it and considers him to be a friend. And he lives up there at James Taylor lives up there at Martha's Vineyard. Now, here's another funny thing that's gone on recently. Ron DeSantis, as far as I'm concerned, the great governor of the great state of Florida. That dude he's been nailing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that dude is, he's on point. he sent 50 illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard. And those people up there are losing their minds. They're losing their minds. They got 5-0. How many do you think come into Texas every day that these small border towns have to deal with? We're talking about one border town down there that's 34,000 people in population, and they've got 50,000 illegals in their community that they're dealing with. 50 of them go up there to one of the richest places in this country. Obama's got a $12 million house up there. Where'd he get $12 million from? Where'd that come from? From his speaking engagements? Probably. He's probably like Bill Clinton. He gets $500,000 to go speak for a half an hour to some bank or whatever. Clinton went and did it in Russia after his wife gave them 20% of our uranium. But we're not going to talk about that, because that doesn't have anything to do with the fact that Trump is all about Russia, right? Even though Billy Boy went over there and was making $500,000 for a half an hour speaking engagement in front of Russian bankers. Yeah. She didn't collude with them at all. The Clintons have nothing to do with it. Not only did that, and nobody caught that hot mic that was still going when Obama was sitting there telling the guy from Russia that, hey, just wait till the elections are done and then I'll have a little more leeway to, we can work. We can finagle this. We can, no one says a word about that. Meanwhile, you've got this bullshit going on. People are getting, their houses raided. Here's a sight you're going to have to get used to, people, because this is what's coming. Here we go. Ready? Oh, and I don't know what happened. I think we just got cut off, maybe. I don't know. That looked like we did. But do you see that? Anybody ever seen that before? Hopefully I didn't just get cut off here. I'm going to be really pissed if that's what happened. I'm so sick and tired of this shit. And now I can't even bring up my lights to change them again. Oh, and thought I'd be a smartass. No, I'm a dumbass. So I'm right up there. All right, let's go back to this. Let's get the fuck out of there. Hopefully that didn't cut anything off. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. And that was supposed to go away. It's saying we're still recording here, so hopefully we're still going. No, I just can't seem to get the lights to go off. My bad. All right, there we go. That should bring us back. There. Oh boy, that's bright. Good grief. I just can't win. I can't win. This is what you get when you try and produce this thing and do it all yourself. Especially when you're a moron like me. This is what you wind up with. Some goon sitting here going, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I got it back a little bit. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. That's bright. That's not so bad. My eyes. All right. Fuck it, we're going to leave it at that. Now, anyway, these people up in what do you call it? Martha's Vineyard, they're just freaking out. They're losing their minds. So one lady, she's like, we just can't handle it. We are in just a, what'd she say? It was something to the effect of how they're suffering up there at Martha's Vineyard. You can tell by the multi-million-dollar homes everywhere and all the open land and everything, And then you look and you see these dudes that just got off the bus, they're just sitting back behind and just chilling, This thing's like, we just don't know what to do. We've got 50 of these people here. We don't have the capacity. It's like, yeah, you only have 22 rooms in your fucking house, lady, for you and your fucking old man to just sit there and fucking whatever, play backgammon all day and, look out there at the fucking water, Yeah. It shows up on your fucking porch in a matter of 50 people. Where was Obama at? Why wasn't he down there greeting these people? He should have been. And then they say, well, DeSantis, all these governors, they're behaving like juveniles and blah 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 blah. It's like, well, you haven't had this happen in your state, have you? No. Now you're getting a little bit of a taste of it, and I say spot on to those guys. You know what I mean? And yeah, the immigration policies do need to change in this country. You're damn right they do. And then you got that fucking stupid Karine fucking Jean-Pierre. You know, this is what happens. This is what happens when you make a hire of somebody based on, you know, their gender or sex or whatever you want to call it. I know that there's this differentiation, and I'm going to get in trouble if I fucking obfuscate the fucking lines there. But she was a black female member of the LGBTQIA plus community, which was how she was introduced. She was introduced to the press the day that she took over for Jen Psaki as, this is, Jen Psaki didn't say, this is my replacement. You're going to be left in capable hands. This is my replacement, Miss Karine Jean-Pierre. Read a little of her resume, something like that. No. She didn't do that. She said, allow me to introduce the first black, openly gay, female, press secretary. Now that sets things off at a bad place. Anyways, think about the mental thing that has to, the effect that has on Karine Jean-Pierre. Because she's sitting there going, well, shit, I'm not being put in this position because of my qualifications. I'm being introduced and put in this position because of, what I do outside of this job. I mean, everybody should be, when you're talking about your performance at a job, you should be looked at by your performance should speak for itself. It should not matter. It shouldn't even be brought up. It never should have even been brought up that that she was gay. It never should have been brought up that she was black. We can see her. It never should have been brought up that she was female. We can see her. The only thing that should be discussed is her ability to do the job, which she has not done very well at. Sorry. All she can do is sit there and look down at the notes. I do a better job of ad-libbing than she does, and I'm an idiot, I mean, she cannot respond off the cuff. She never has been able to. She's not going to be able to. She comes out with that folder. She does the I don't know if she's, it's like Jen Psaki would do with the cup and the balls type thing, Let me reiterate, Peter Ducey, when you ask me these tough questions that make me look like a moron. You can tell she just hates him. But so she comes out and says that the whole thing that's going on down on the southern border is Trump's fault. They're trying to right the ship from what the last 4 years did. Well, guess what? You're almost in year 3 there, Miss Jean-Pierre. You're almost in year 3. So you can't say the last 4 years because y'all have been in control of it for nearly 3 years, and this is what we got. I don't think there's any more blaming it on Trump. I don't think so. And that whole fiasco going on there, I don't know. We've watched the DOJ become weaponized. Something that was never supposed to happen. You've got corrupt people in charge. And it's rampant. The president is corrupt. Okay? The VP, she's an idiot. She gets on there and says that the border is just fine. It's secure. Well, guess what happens when they end up dumping a bunch of illegals at her place? In wherever she's at. She's I can't remember the name of it. I think it's just over across the river in Virginia. I mean, all of a sudden it's like, oh, they've never been down there. In 3 years almost, okay? As of January 20th of 2023, right? That's right around the corner. They haven't even gone down there. That muttonhead Biden, he hasn't even been down to the border. Kamala, she went down there once, and I think she went to the wrong place. She went to like fucking, I don't know, Piggly Wiggly or something, and in fucking Austin or something, acted like she was down there. She wouldn't, she wasn't about to go down there. I mean, they don't even have a clue. They got no clue. That they want to throw these guys that are, working on the border patrol under the bus. They come up with that whole thing where they make it look like the guy's whipping somebody with the reins of his horse. No, he's not. Anybody who's ever been on a horse knows that if in a situation like that, you've got to move that horse. He wasn't whipping somebody. How stupid is that? And then they find 53 immigrants in a dead in the back of a tractor trailer. Who's that on? That's on that guy that I just showed you. That's on him. It's on him. When you hear the interviews and they ask these people that have come across the border, what they think and where they're coming, and they're like, oh yeah, it's wide open. They don't say that it's secure. They say, yeah, it's wide open. I mean, they come across with their wristbands that come from the cartels, and that way, once the coyotes get them to the river and they cross, then the guys on the other side know who they're looking for. They're just looking for the wristbands because those people are indebted to the cartel in one way or another, whether it be, you've got all these contingencies of minor children with no parents. And then they want to grandstand about that because what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do when these kids come across the border and you can't find the parents and you know that they're going into the sex trade, sex slavery? What are you supposed to do? Just let them go? Let them go with that the Norteño, the north side fucking coyote that's going to take them God knows where? Or do you take those kids and at least put them someplace where they're secure? And Biden and Obama were the ones that built those cages anyways. It's just amazing how these people fucking turn this shit around. And they're never going to stop. The media's never going to stop. These politicians are never going to stop because they're all fucking corrupt. They're all corrupt. The system is fucking, it's entirely fucking corrupted. Beyond belief. And it comes from both sides of the fence. Trust me, I am not sticking up for fucking Republicans either. There's only, I look at a guy like Rand Paul. He's got honor. Jim Jordan, I think he's got some honor. From the other side of the fence, I don't even know. You watch Pelosi get up there, the numbers come out, right, from August, okay? This is after they signed their Inflation Reduction Act, which, as I said, I've called it the whole time. The whole time since this fucking thing came on the table, I've called it the Inflation Act. You can go back and look. I've called it that way the entire time since day one. Somehow they got Joe Manchin to jump on board, and I don't know how that happened. And, it doesn't necessarily even matter. The fact of the matter is we've got a bunch of power-drunk fucking assholes that are corrupt as shit running this show, and we just sit here and we let it happen. That's the truth. And, it's almost beyond the point of no return, because there are not people that'll stand up and speak out. I'm going to keep saying what I'm going to say. Straight up. I don't care. I'm not going to stop talking. I'm not going to stop speaking on this thing. I don't care. Take it how you want. I don't give a shit, I've had the worst of what they had to offer, and I'm not scared of it, and I don't care. But then again, I don't have a platform either. I've got 3.2 listeners, and I appreciate all 3.2 of you out there greatly. I really do. And I really hope you're all well. And anybody who does listen to this, at least to me, it says that at least you're examining these things and you're that you're thinking, because there's a war going on in this world, and it's happening on a bunch of different levels. But the biggest one that's going on right now is the war for what's happening up here. Are you using this or are you not? Are you critically thinking about these things? Everybody says, Mike, why do you get so into politics? Why do you get so wound up about this shit? It's because this is what is deciding, the world for our children. We're already fucked. Anybody my age, 30, anybody who's an adult, you're fucked. You're screwed. You're thrown in You know, my son who just started working, he's $31 trillion in debt. How did he get $31 trillion in debt? He's not very good with his money, but I mean, he damn sure didn't go 31 trillion into debt. I sure didn't. I've not been great with money. I'll be the first to admit it, but who cares? Who cares? Money is just an instrument. It's a shitty piece of paper. It's there for you to use to, I mean, if it gives you enjoyment to use it, then what are you going to do? Sit around? You know, stockpile it away? What, so you can give it to a kid or give it to, give it to somebody for an inheritance so they can piss it away? How many times have you seen that happen? You know how many times I've seen that happen? You know how many times I've worked for an outfit that the father started it from nothing, like I did with my business, and turned around and handed it to a son, and the son just ran it into the ground, like straight up, just boom, because he didn't know what it was like, you know? And so for that man to sit there and retire and watch everything that he worked his life, work his ass off for, think about all the fucking, holidays, dinners he missed, maybe even birthdays, shit like that, because he was working, doing what he thought he was supposed to be doing. And then just to watch it all just go fucking get pissed away. I mean, it's not all about money. Trust me. It shouldn't be about money. Unfortunately, that's the world in which we live. And there is an answer to that. And I've skirted around that over and over again, and I don't think anybody's ready to hear it, quite frankly. And I don't think anybody's quite ready to deal with that that paradigm thought shift that it would take to right the ship. We have the technology, though. How many people, and I've said this over and over again, how many people work bullshit jobs out there? Bullshit jobs. And there's a book called Bullshit Jobs. And now I can't remember the name of the author. I'm doing him a disservice. But I can look that up. And I will do that just to give him a little bit of credit here, since I did use, everybody says bullshit jobs, but it's a book worth reading. And I haven't read the whole thing. I've read bits and pieces and listened to a number of interviews. Nobody reads books anymore anyways. Right? Let's see if we can find this gentleman here. We got to get Joe Biden off the screen up there anyhow. David Graeber. I knew it was something with a G. Anyway, there's a book called Bullshit Jobs, and he wrote that in 2018. It's a good book. And he talks about the psychology of working a bullshit job, what it does to you. When you go to work every day and all you're doing is going through the motions, just trying to keep getting your paycheck, but you're not doing anything meaningful, When you spend your day not doing anything meaningful, when you spend your day doing something that just makes yourself look busy, which a lot of these union jobs are that way. Do you know how many guys I've had work for me over the years that have been at one point or another some kind of a union employee or worked in that type of scenario where it's 8 and skate or it's 410s and all they want to do is just get your hours, right? Break every day, 10 o'clock, 10 to 10:15. Lunch, 12 to 12:30. Afternoon break, 2:30 to 2:45. Punch out time, you drop your tools, fucking drop your tool bag, everything, fucking out the door you go. Doesn't matter if you've got 5 minutes left on something, Myself as, I always just kept going, and guys would be like, oh, can we take a break yet? And I'm like, I haven't even looked at the clock. I'm like, yeah, fucking whatever, man. You gotta take a fucking break, go take a break, man. We're all big boys. Fucking do what you gotta do, man. You don't have to sit there and wait on me. As an employer, that's the biggest thing I disliked about being an employer was that I had a bunch of guys that worked for me that all they were worried about was getting that 8 hours. Little did they know, I had a couple guys that understood it, but, had they just gone out and finished the work, just go out and do the job, I used to do that when I was a wage slave. We'd be out on the road working. The head guy wasn't there, and be like, listen, here's what we got to do today. The drywallers are right here. All we got to do, we catch up to them. We got nothing to do. We can pack it up and leave. No, don't take the fucking cigarette break. Don't take the lunch break. We're out of here at noon, 1 o'clock, and then we can go and do whatever we want the rest of the day. who wants to sit there on that job? But these guys would have that mentality. Well, we got to stay here. We got to look busy. We got to look like we're doing. We have to stay here. We have to. It's like, dude, you don't have anything to do. We've done it all. Why stick around? You know what that does to your mind? It makes that day the longest day ever. And you're sitting there where you're fucking wandering around. You're going, Jesus Christ, you're pissed off. You know, you're doing something stupid just to look. Come on, man. Life's too short, man. This whole concept that we have of these jobs, you know. And that's what these politicians hold over our heads too. Look at their job. What do they do? Fuck, they take vacation all the fucking time. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle of a fucking crisis. If it's vacation time for those motherfuckers, they're out. They don't stick around. They're out the door. Moving into their fucking caged-in fucking castles and fucking going on vacation, going to Italy, going wherever the fuck, hanging out on the beach somewhere. Don't give a shit about us. They couldn't care less. Like I said, the great and mighty leader of this wonderful nation has taken 150 days of vacation so far. He does it every week. He leaves earlier on Friday, he comes in late on Monday, and he goes and eats ice cream cones and fucking wanders around, goes and gets COVID twice in a row, and fucking preaches at you about how you have to have the vaccine, mandates the vaccine for you. Yeah. Interesting, huh? Look at all the fucking falsehoods that were told through that whole fucking fiasco with Fauci and all these other fucking idiots that everybody believed. And these fucking assholes that run these fucking social media companies, these fucking YouTube fuckers and, meta whatever the fuck, and twatter. They take a guy like Jordan Peterson and they completely, he's off Twitter. This is one of the most intelligent individuals out there. And this is where I wanted to start this episode, but then I saw this other shit that I had to speak on. So I watched he's come out with a couple of letters, and this is kind of the form that he's been taking. And I like it because I can identify with what he's doing, because for me, a lot of times I'm better at conveying my thoughts and feelings and my point and staying on track when I'm actually engaged in the written word. And he's been doing the same. So he had a letter that he wrote to Twitter. He had one that he wrote about the electric cars. And then today he had one that he did about the whole Russia-Ukraine thing that's going on. And he delved into the idea that perhaps we're so deranged and depraved and stupid right now that we don't even have a chance at getting it back. And that's kind of where I've been coming from too, is that stupidity is one of the more dangerous things out there. It's actually probably the most dangerous thing that you can deal with is a stupid person. You can deal with a malicious person, with somebody that's malevolent, with somebody that's got angst on their hearts and minds that they want to do something, evil about it. You can deal with people like that. They can be dealt with. Stupid people, on the other hand, are unpredictable. And unpredictability is something that is very difficult to deal with, because you can predict what a malicious person is going to do. I mean, it's going to be A, B, or C. You know what I mean? Maybe there's option D, but at least you can narrow it down to, if this happens, then maybe they do this, right? I mean, that's kind of what war is about, and any kind of battle with somebody, be it, what have you, be it a physical battle, mental, mind games, Cold War type situations with like the sanctions and shit. Did anybody think that the sanctions that we put on Russia was going to backfire in our face like it has? Did anybody think that the Russian fucking, currency was going to be the highest performing currency on the planet right now? After all, Biden gets up there and, fucking mushhead gets up there and talks about all the sanctions and this and that, and Putin and China just kind of went, yeah, right, you played right into our hands. And that's stupidity. That's what that is. It's stupidity. It's ignorance. It's arrogance. It's righteous indignation. And so anyway, after I got done watching what Dr. Jordan B. Peterson had to say today. Let's see if I can get this. I wrote a response to him. And what I wanted to do was just read this, because sometimes I make a little more sense in my response when I'm actually writing, you know. So I put it on a little teleprompter. I'm going to be like Joe, but I think I can actually read it, just because I wrote this earlier. I don't really. Anyway, this was my response to Jordan Peterson and what he had to say, and I just said right here. This is just verbatim of what I wrote to him today on just a response to his video. And I said, Dr. Peterson, there exists a collective level of cognitive dissonance, arrogance, and derangement within society that quite possibly has escalated beyond the point of no return. Every facet of our lives seems to be enveloped in war, whether physical, mental, spiritual, or moral. The war worth fighting is the war for our minds. I find it difficult to have conversations with people. The masses are asses. When I hear the deranged circus monkey Joe Biden, who allegedly chalked up more popular votes than any candidate in history, and did so inexplicably while hiding in a basement, utter the term democracy, I shudder. The United States has never been a democracy. It's certainly not a representative republic, and I argue that democracy is a bad idea. Look at the population. 99% are nearly illiterate, which makes them stupid, and stupidity is dangerous. Stupidity is more dangerous than malice. Malice can be thwarted with reason. Stupidity is unpredictable, and that which is unpredictable presents difficulty in regard to containment and elimination. This is a cliche from a redneck comedy tour, but never did a silly phrase hold more true. Quote unquote, you can't fix stupid. If this is true, it begs the question, where do we go from here? What do we do? How does ration and reason take the day? When a predominant majority of the population revel in the sewers of stupidity and ignorance, while rolling around in the cologne of righteous indignation, how are they to be redeemed? I've always held the mindset that redemption is possible for those who seek it. When stupidity sinks its yellowed teeth into the majority, doubt rears its ugly head. Starvation will cannibalize the inner cities. The horror that awaits, looming in the form of power grid breakdown, supply chain deterioration, starvation, crime, and quite probable a Lord of the Flies scenario, is absolutely terrifying. Few of us see the nearly inevitable certainty of this horror. Fewer yet see a solution. Dr. Peterson, you are a great voice of reason, and there's a great weight that's been put upon you. But know that there are also a number of us out here with a slight understanding of the subjects you courageously address. I'm a useful idiot, attempting to absorb as much knowledge as I can, seeking wisdom and understanding, trying to show love and compassion to my brothers and sisters, but having a very difficult time in those endeavors. Please continue to speak truth. I do the same on my tiny platform, because my outlook is that if my words awaken one single person, it was worth my existence. I'm talking about an awakening, not the grammatical nightmare that the term woke presents. That term should be eliminated from the lexicon immediately, if not sooner. Thank you, sir. And that's what I had to say to him today after listening to what he had to say. And it was a really good podcast, and he's been coming out with a lot more content. He got banned from Twitter, which, I mean, you have to look at society. When we take the most brilliant minds that we have, that man is a leader. I don't care. He's been through a lot. You know, his wife of many years, she fell ill. He sunk into depression, something that he's fought. He was put on medication, what they call the benzos, terrible stuff, and fell into an addiction. And if it wasn't for his family getting him to a rehab facility in Russia, he came back broken. And that man is out there. He practiced everything that he's spoken about. And he's talked about this in his lectures over and over. So this is a man that not only has he gone out there and said it, he's lived it. And he's shown through his own actions and what he's been through that by following his own advice, his own words, by practicing what he preaches, to use another cliche, he's come back. I mean, the first time I saw him speak when he came back, he was a shadow of who he was. But you know what? Now he's back, and he's better. And for the likes of these idiots at Twitter to take a man like that and shut him down and cancel him, it's unfathomable. And I read these articles that call him, the alt-rights, blah, blah, blah. The man has done nothing but speak the truth, and he's a very compassionate, and you can tell that he's very thoughtful, and not only is he a man, but he will break down. He is so heartfelt about the things that he's saying that I've seen him break down into tears, and you kind of, you're like, whoa. It's not one of those where you're like, oh, laughing like that guy's like the guy crying over there. It's like, holy shit, this guy's so, like, he's so passionate about what he's saying and what he's talking about, and it hits him so hard, and he's that compassionate towards people that, that the shit, like, breaks him down, so, I don't know, I just wanted to talk about him a little bit. If you guys haven't had a chance to, I doubt that there's many people out there that haven't heard of Jordan Peterson. But if you haven't, and even if you have, I would encourage you to, check out his podcast that he's been doing on YouTube. Any of the interviews that he's had, you're talking about a very brilliant individual. And if there were presidential qualities in any individual out there in the public eye right now, I would say beyond a shadow of a doubt, they lie within that man. He represents what a true leader is. And I think it's very unfortunate that he's been labeled like this. But the thing is a lot of times when you're doing the right thing, when you are on the right track, you're gonna face adversity. You're gonna get shut down because the majority of the people out there aren't. We are so involved in stupidity, especially in this country. Absolute stupidity. We've become so complacent, so comfortable over the years that we're willing to let everything that we have in this country, this I don't care what you say about it, this was the greatest country on earth. The Roman Empire was for a while too. And we've made it 246 years, almost 247 now. And the only reason I know that number is because I was born on the bicentennial, so all I got to do is take 200 and add my age to it. And so it's not like it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. I'm not sitting here with that, kind of historical knowledge. Although I could probably figure it out with a calculator or abacus or something like that. But anyways, I don't know. I just thought it was, the first thing I touched on was I was literally laughing my ass off when I saw these people up there in Martha's Vineyard just flipping out over the fact that they had 50 illegal immigrants show up on a bus, and they're just losing their minds. How crazy is that? You know what I mean? Come on. It's like they've got, you don't think there's 50 rooms out there in Martha's Vineyard somewhere? These homes are huge. Barack Obama's place is $12 million home. Think about how many rooms is in a $12 million home. I've only seen a couple of them, I've painted some that are close to that much, but shit. And these people are just losing their minds, Let's see if I can find a video of this. And this is the first time that Martha's Vineyard has been, in the news at all. And it's these crazy people are just freaking out. They're just losing it. This is fucking hilarious. There was one lady on there, she didn't even know what to do. She said, "We can't handle this. We cannot handle this." I was like, what? DeSantis did this, and I think, they're all back, that's so funny. And they're wanting to talk shit about him. He sent 2 planes to Martha's Vineyard. That dude, I tell you what, I really hope that he runs as Trump's VP, so, it'd be another 4 years of those 2, and then he can run for president and take the next 8. That's what we're going to need. We're going to need 12 years of some common sense to actually turn this thing around. And the thing that's crazy is that these all the idiots on the left, they try to make these guys they make Trump and DeSantis look like they're racist homophobes and this. No, they're not. They're not even. It's common sense. It's common sense that you don't sit there and inundate a 5-year-old with, you know, sexuality and gender identity and shit like that. You just let a 5-year-old be a 5-year-old. And if they're a little boy and they like the color pink, then so be it. If the little girl wants to play with fucking Tonka trucks, so be it. Just let them fucking be kids, for fuck's sake. That's common sense. That's not, that's not being transphobic. I mean, just because you don't take your kid at 7 years old and go have him, take him for gender reassignment surgery doesn't make you a fucking transphobe, for fuck's sake. We were born the way we were born, And sure, some people, maybe they're, I don't know, I don't understand it. I don't care. You want to be whatever you want to be, that's fine. What I'm not going to do is call you a plurality. I'm not going to call you a them. I'm not going to call you they. You want to be a ma'am, a miss, Mrs. You want to go by a female name, or vice versa. Fine, I don't care. I'll call you he or she, whatever you want to be. But I'm not going to do the she, you, shall, they, them. I'm just not doing it. I'm sorry. I'm not calling somebody them. How do you address somebody instead of saying, like, if I decide I'm a them, instead of saying Mr. File, would you say them file? What? I'm a them. I'm just much bigger than myself. I'm many people. I mean, come on. And then this is what we want to fight about. This is where we pick our battles. Instead of dealing with, the fact that we got fucking, how many, they say the number is 550-some thousand homeless people. I don't buy that number. I'm saying it's a couple million at least. What are we doing for them? What are we doing to help our brothers and sisters out that are living in cardboard boxes with kids that are malnourished, aren't eating, dirty clothes, haven't had a bath in fucking weeks, getting no education? Because school's the last thing on somebody's mind when you're living in a fucking box on fucking street in Skid Row. What are we doing for those people? Nothing. Yet we can send billions over to these corrupt fuckers in Iraq and in the form of weapons to kill other kids. Right? So not only are we allowing our kids to die here, not only are we allowing our children to grow up in poverty, in gang-infested environments full of violence. And it's not the fucking guns, people, because the violence is going to happen one way or another regardless. That dude out in fucking San Francisco chopped that woman's head off with a fucking sword last week. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, knife, cars, people will weaponize whatever they can. It doesn't have to be a gun. You don't have to do damage with it. I mean, it certainly makes it easier. But if you've got that in your heart, if that's what you want to do is go out and kill people, you can do it just as easily. That kid down in Texas, he could have locked himself in that fucking schoolroom with a machete and done just as much damage. Who was going to defend? They're talking about fourth graders, I tried to tell my son that when they would hang out in places, they always wanted to go out to the rec center and go hang out in this little bowl area over there, right, where you couldn't see them. I said, you know what? I said, if there's some dude that wants to come up and grab you guys, I'm like, there's 2 trails in from each side. All he's got to do is park his fucking child molester van down there and walk up there. I said, how many? I said, there could be 13 or 14 of you little punks up there, and I could come snatch as many of you as I wanted to if that's what I was doing. I was like, so you're not allowed to hang out there anymore, I mean, it's not about the guns. It's if people have that malevolence, and that's the way they're going to go, then it doesn't matter, guns or not. They're still going to, they're going to carry it out one way or another. I mean, there's evil out there, and it's going to persist. And we need to protect ourselves against it. So, I don't know. I just thought that was pretty funny up there. And then in New York City, they're freaking out too. They're supposed to be this big sanctuary city. And they get a couple thousand. How many people live in New York City? 14 million? A couple thousand people show up and they just fucking lose their minds. I mean, I think it's fucking hilarious. Abbott and DeSantis, they're like, here's what we have to deal with. I mean, they're dealing with thousands every day coming over those borders because that asshole won't do anything about it. And these fucking pukes that are on TV and shit, they just sit there and they just grandstand and they talk shit. And they don't have a fucking clue. You sit there and you listen to the fucking doofus, and then we're worried about, and here's the other one. We're worried about the fucking Little Mermaid being played by a black actor. Who gives a fuck? Are you shitting me? What does that have to do with anything? I mean, you could put somebody green out there to play the Little Mermaid, it wouldn't matter. And this is what they're, you got people like Juicy Smollett, It looks like Juicy got an NAACP award nomination too. That's great. That's a real good reflection. You got a guy that he orchestrated a complete fucking farce. He should be in fucking prison, and they let him out. And he's now, I just see up here on the ticker, he's getting an NAACP award nomination. Good job, NAACP. My buddies always told me that I had an NAACP card when I was in prison, because I got along with everybody. I don't know if Juicy Smollett's going to win an NAACP award, I guess I might be throwing my card away. You know what I mean? This is crazy. How can that even happen? That's absolutely out of this world. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is stupidity. That's what I'm saying. It's fucking stupidity. So, on that note, I'm going to cut it off. But yeah, if you never have, look into Jordan Peterson. Check the guy out. Listen to what he has to say. I mean, you want to talk about a leader and somebody that should be allowed to have influence. The guy's got millions of followers. I mean, and rightly so. I mean, that's a definition of a man right there. I mean, that he's educated, he's compassionate, he's heartfelt in everything he does, and he's also not afraid to practice what it is that he's talking about. And he's been put to the fire, and he's come out the other side. And I couldn't be happier for him that he was able to do that, because he was in the throes of, and he was in a very bad place. He damn near lost his life. But he managed to get through it, and got through it with the help of his family and his own tenacity. So, much love to Jordan Peterson, man. Good for you, brother. So, on that note, I'm going to take us out of here, as we always end it, from the Mike Files, 52 miles east of Jellystone Park in Coyote, Wyoming. Be good or be good at it. In all things, be kind and do no harm. I'll catch you all on the flip side. Take care.